Hey guys, Dan here from DevDan.io, and I just want to show you a few tips and tricks that I use with Chrome DevTools every day. Really helps speed up and streamline your workflow. So we got a few that we're going to jump into here. I'm going to go relatively quickly. But first one is just open up the DevTools in general. So instead of doing a right click and doing inspect, what we're going to do is just Option Command J. And you see that pops open DevTools right over here. On Windows, that is Control Shift J. Once we have this open, jumps on over to the JavaScript console. One of my favorite things to do here is I do this in a lot of the applications that I use is to search instead of trying to click through all the different menus and find out the functionality that you need by getting there through a handful of clicks. What I like to do is just go ahead and search. So for this, we're going to do Shift Command P, and on Windows, I believe that should be Control Shift P. And what this does is it brings up your command palette. Over here, as you can see as I'm scrolling through, it gives you a ton of different options. This just allows you to jump around real quickly. So if I were just go ahead and types in console, it's going to go ahead and jump me into the console. Command Shift P, do that again. Screenshot, here's another one that I like to use a lot. So if I just type in screenshot, instead of actually having to try and find it somewhere in the DevTools, I can go ahead and take a screenshot. It allows you to capture just the viewport right here. You can capture the whole entire full screen, which is nice when there's content way below the fold over here. You can take a screenshot of the whole entire page. That comes in very useful. You can take a screenshot of a string of a single node as well too, and you just go ahead and select which one you want, hit enter, and as you can see down here on the bottom left, let's here slide this on over. You can see now I've got a screenshot of the entire page, which is pretty awesome. That definitely comes in useful a lot of times. Let's see here. Another thing that I like to use on a regular basis is going over here to elements. The cool thing is instead of just searching for a specific element, let's say you're doing like you're doing a screen scraping, you're running a screen scraping app, and you need to search for an element not just by its content, but by its actual CSS selector. So what I can do here is come down here and okay, now what I want to do is I want to find all instances of this class right here. But maybe instead of just searching by class name, I want to do div and then I want to find h3. So just like you would regular CSS, you can go ahead and write actual CSS selectors, and this will search using CSS selectors. So you don't just need to enter in this a plain uh, string here. So you can see you can type in actual text or you can type in an actual CSS selector. So you can do a header. And we can jump to that header here and show you all the different ones that we have. Um, Another thing that I really like as well too is code formatting. So if you go on over to source, you can obviously see that they minified the whole entire source here. This makes it incredibly hard to debug. It's not very easy to read. So you can jump around. They obviously minified everything, which is great for performance reasons. But when you go to debugging, it can be a little bit of a pain. So DevTools has actually got Prettier built right into it. So all you have to do is come down here, click that little button, and everything is formatted. Incredibly easy to use, much easier to read. Um, and yeah, makes it a lot easier for development and debugging. Next thing that I want to do is show you that you can actually force pseudo states here. So you can see when I hover on over their version number right here, the color changes. Trying to debug this in CSS can get a little bit tricky at times. I mean, this is a relatively simple example, but now imagine there's an example where there's a fly out menu up at the top, and every time you hover over it, the menu displays, there's a sub menu or sub navigation displays below it, and you want to try and debug that. The issue is whenever you move your mouse away from that, the component disappears in the DOM, and it's hard to get that back. So what you can do is you just click on the element that you want and come on over here, and then they've got this colon HOV for hover, and now you can activate the different states here. So if you do a hover state, you can now see that this is simulating the hover state, and we can actually keep this sticky. So if we actually had a drop-down menu over here that displays additional content when you hover on over it, you can just activate the hover state right here, and it will go ahead and keep that menu activated. Um, Last thing that I want to show you as well too, like I was saying before, for search, it's incredibly useful if, let's say you've got an issue down here on the console, and and it's throwing an error. You're not quite sure where that error is coming from or what the heck is going on. So I'm going to open up my command palette again. I'm going to do show search. So the cool thing is now what I can do is down here is this is a global search. It searches across all the files that are loaded onto this web page. So if I'm searching for a specific string, let's just say it's React in this case, it will show me all of the locations within all of the files loaded on this page where React is defined, or not just defined, but where the word React actually shows up. So you can see it's in a bunch of different files, and that helps me jump around. So I can double click on this, and once again, it's very hard to read this, but now if I click prettier, all right, you can see I've got the word React right here. So this is very useful for debugging if you need to search, if you can't quite find something, you don't know if what you're searching for is in CSS or if it's in JavaScript, or if it's in an HTML file. If there's a specific string that you're trying to search for, you can search across all files. So anyways, that's just a couple tips and tricks that I use on a regular basis. Really helps Chrome, really helps with web development and speed up your workflow. So hope you find this useful. And if you do, please hit subscribe, throw me a like. That'd be awesome. Thank you very much.